Welcome to day 5. If you were one of the first people to buy this book when the ebook was released, you might have made it to this day and not had this video, and for that I'm sorry. But you might have figured out what was going on, because it is pretty clear with the designs here what's going on. But just in case you had any doubts, let's go over it together. I'm always going to be here for you to hold your hand, walk with you, and to guide you on your Spanish learning journey. So let's get into it. Day 5. This is an important lesson. We're also going to see a section of this lesson is going to be a reoccurring lesson through a big portion of this book. It's not going to go to the end, but I want to say it's about half. A good portion of this book, you're going to have a reoccurring section. And basically what it is, you're going to be learning ing. In English, we have ing at the end of words. Most of the time, what ing indicates is that an action is happening. Notice even when I said happening, it has ing at the end of it. It's continuously happening. Now, Spanish has quite a simple equivalent to ing. It's not that foreign of a concept. It's just a little bit different, and we're going to talk about those. So in English, where you would have ing, in Spanish, it's going to end in ando or yendo. So ando or iendo. Let's look at a few examples. We see talking, eating, living. Oh wow, look, it's our 3 best friends back again. Now they end in ing. Now if you look to the right, here's their counterparts in Spanish. Hablando, comiendo, viviendo. Notice that we took these words that we know, our best friends in Spanish, and we dropped the last 2 letters, and we added the ending, either ando or yendo. What is the pattern? Let's go to the next page. Let's go to page 27. Here's the pattern. If a Spanish verb ends in AR, and you want to turn it into an ing word, well, that's what it would be in English, right? You're going to take the AR off, and you're going to add ando. The A is still there of consistency. Technically, we're going to say that we remove the AR and then we add ando. That's just kind of how it's generally accepted to be. Then if the word ends in ER, you're going to remove the ER and you're going to add iendo, yendo. And then if it ends in IR, same one, yendo. So ER and IR have the same thing. You drop the last 2 letters and you add the yendo. Okay? That's the pattern. Memorize that pattern. Now it's going to get even easier as we go on. Something really interesting we're going to see. But let's keep going. Let's go to the next page, page 28. So just for clarity, here's another breakdown of what we've been looking at. Hablar would be hablando. Comer would be comiendo. Vivir would be viviendo. Makes sense? It's pretty simple. This is going to be probably the easiest one all throughout, but it is going to be reoccurring because this one is very, very important. Okay, you're going to be using these all the time. Let's go to the next page, page 29. Let's keep this going. Oh, look, we see lots of words that you know. It's just that the ending is a little bit different. We have them ending in either A-N-D-O or I-E-N-D-O. What are these words? These are our 15 key irregular verbs. We're going to be using these all the time. They're so common. You're going to be a master of these before you know it, okay? Notice, though, a couple of little interesting things here. We have one bright color, pink, on 3 words. Why? Because these 3 are quite odd. The other ones are irregular, but these ones are a little bit more odd. Someone once told me, someone that gave me some great feedback as I was putting this project together. I had a nice group, nice team of people, of some fantastic counselors and friends, and someone said that this one maybe needed a little bit more indication on what they are, drawing attention to them. So notice how a little bit weird they are. Okay, so viniendo, notice it's not veniendo. You know what that comes from because it says the word coming, right? That comes from venir. You've already memorized that word earlier in this book. Remember? Building blocks. So if some of these aren't clear and you don't know what venir means, you gotta go back and make a good memory aid. So these pink ones are a little bit more irregular than the rest, or they seem to be, right? Yendo has a Y. That comes from ir. Remember I said that's the most irregular verb. It's the weirdest, most rebellious word probably in all of Spanish. And then we have diciendo. It's not spelled D-E like the word decir. It's diciendo. So just pay attention to those ones. Now the good thing about these is that these are not going to change at all forever. I'll explain that a little bit more coming up, but let's look at one last thing on this page before we move on. There's 3 words that are in gray: being able to, knowing. The reason why these are in gray is because these are hardly used. Technically, you could say, Zach, didn't you cut out all of the fluff from your book? Why do you have fluff in here if these aren't commonly used? Well, the reason is just for consistency purposes, is because these are our 15 key irregular verbs. So we're going to be working with these a lot. It just so happens that with this particular little concept with ing, they just aren't used very often in this way. So those ones you can kind of ignore. Take a look at them, glance at them, that's okay, but you can kind of ignore them afterwards. It's really not a big deal. You might hear them every once in a while, but you don't need to pay too much attention to them. It's just for consistency, because we're still working with our 15 good friends. Okay, so these 15 good friends, we're gonna in other verbal concepts, we're going to be using them all the time. Okay, so this is just one little caveat to that. Okay, let's go to the next page 30. Here is what's going to be reoccurring. You're going to see something that looks like this. Like I said, probably through about half the book, a good portion of this book, you're going to see this and you go, oh, I've seen that before, but it's going to be slightly different. Every time you see this, you're going to see an example. And the example is always going to have ing on it, but it's also going to have in bold letters. See where it says I'm talking, I'm eating, I'm living. That I'm is bold, and that's going to match the big letter word that's getting pointed at right there. That word is not going to be the same every time. That word is going to be a key word. In this case, estoy means I'm, okay? Where did that word come from? You should already have memorized that one. Remember, that one was back on page 24. Page 24 was day 4. So let's take a look at page 24 real quick again, okay? Every single time, there's a characteristic of the book. It's very interesting. You won't find this anywhere else. In the future, it's going to make a lot of sense of why this was this way. But every time that you see a chart like this come up, this exercise, your 15 key irregular verbs, you're going to be looking at this first verb, estar. It means to be, temporarily to be. All right? Notice on page 24, what is the conjugation we learned? Estoy. Estoy means I am. That's key. So you can also say, I am doing something. I'm eating, I'm drinking, I'm running, etc. So every time that this comes up, you're going to pay close attention to that first conjugation that you're learning, because you're later going to use it to learn how to use it with ing. I'll give you an example. Next time it might be you are. So you learn you are, and then after that chart comes up, your 15 key irregular verbs, you're going to get to the ing part, and then you're going to learn how to say you are eating, you are drinking, and so on. Then later on, another day, it'll be we are. So these are just patterns. I know it might seem like a lot. Learning languages, it's hard, but if you focus on these building blocks, the way it's broken down in this course, in a logical order, in bite-sized pieces, and you say, okay, today I just got to learn just these things today, and then I go get immersion, all right? And like I said, they don't have to be literal days. Maybe you take a week for this one lesson. Maybe you have to take 2 weeks for this one lesson, but you're still doing it in an order that makes sense, all right? So let's go back to page 30 now. So page 30, inside of this little bubble here, we have all the words that we looked at on page 29. The fantastic thing about these is these will never change. This exact picture inside the bubble, they will always stay the same, because these words, talking, eating, living, they'll never change. The only thing that's going to change is the word before it. In this case, it's the I am part, or the you are part in other cases, or we are, or we will be. I will be talking. I will be talking about that tomorrow. All right. I'm throwing out examples to help kind of get you to understand the broad idea. So in this case, it's I am. So what do? Every time that you see a section like this, you simply are going to take the word that's being pointed at. In this case, it's estoy, the I'm or the I am, and you're just fill in the blank. But I want you to say them, because I want you to get used to using them. I want you to imagine you're talking to someone about something and you use it, and get mental immersion. I want you to mentally immerse yourself, and then you're going to go get real immersion. And then whenever you go to sleep, you're going to be thinking in Spanish. You're going to get dream immersion. It happens. When you're learning a language and you're getting real immersion, you're going to get dream immersion. So whenever you write these out, I want you to say them, and I want you to practice them. After you've already closed your book for the day, and you might be cooking or cleaning, I want you to practice these. Estoy hablando, estoy comiendo, estoy viviendo. Say them all out loud. Build muscle memory with these, because you're going to be using these. And then try to actually use them with people. All right, there you have it. That's what you've got to do. Start practicing that. Mentally be ready to tackle the next one the next time you see this bubble pop up. Let's get on to the last part of today's lesson. We have vocabulary. You know what to do. You just memorize these words. How do you memorize them? Start with looking for cognates. I've found a few for you there. Use those cognates. Remember, it's better to have some kind of connection to something familiar than to have no connection at all. After that, start to use memory aids. Memory aids are powerful. They're your friend. Use memory aids, memorize these vocabulary words, and after that, as always, stop and immerse your brain.